My name is Ursula Darby. I am a public speaker, a certified grief educator, and a psychic medium. And I have been involved in helping people through grief and loss for the past 21 years. You're going to hear about stories, real stories, experiences that I've had, and the BS that's in this industry. It's and the cliche, yeah, the cliches are garbage. I'm a former stand-up comedian, so you might laugh a couple times too. I'm going to talk about my experiences, how it all started, um, the behind the scenes, and it's raw, unfiltered, truthful work. I'm a skeptic. I hate the cliches in my industry. I hate the language that's used. That's not going to happen here. And I want to start into, in my first episode, that I want to discuss how this all started for me because that's a very common question that people say. Oh, well, first they say there's two ways that people respond to me. That's pretty common. And one is that they're like, oh, sure you are. If I have not heard that statement 1,000 times or more, really where we're at. And the other is, oh my gosh, I have so many questions for you. There was this time that I pause. I don't want to know. I was just telling you what I did. You asked what my job was. Pretty common for people to, introduce themselves and say, what do you do? I really hate saying what I do, not because I'm ashamed of it and not because I'm not proud of it. I am. I absolutely love my work. But the two ways that people respond. And the third is with violence. I've had people threaten to beat the F out of me because of what I do. And that's frightening. And sometimes I just don't tell people at all what I do. So how did it start? I explain things in very common and simple terms because I don't like the language used in this industry. And I want people to understand that they have had their own experiences too. So looking back, what I recall it back, I guess, around the age of 5. Right before I'd fall asleep, I would feel a presence in the room. And of course, I didn't have that language then. But even now, as I think of it, because these experiences have happened my entire life, they have not stopped, is that I would feel a presence in the room, but would know that there wasn't actually someone else physically there. And once I sensed that, I immediately was terrified. And I would, it's funny, I'm doing it now. I would hold my breath. I would pull the sheet slowly over my head, hoping that whatever was there couldn't see me because a child can't think otherwise. And I would slow my breathing down because I was scared, but I also didn't want to give any movement or anything or let whatever know was there that I knew that it was there. And I would hear footsteps in my room. I'd hear that movement on the carpet. The door would open and close. And this would be right before I'd be falling asleep. And I would also get woken up multiple times throughout the night with this. And then I would hear sounds of groups of people talking to each other. And I could never make out what they said, which sounds ridiculous. Like, oh, sure, isn't that? It was all night long. So I didn't sleep and I didn't know what was happening. I was so scared that I would ask my brother, who's a couple years older than me, if he would sleep in the spare bed in my bedroom. And he wouldn't. He refused to. And I have a story to share about the time that he did stay in my room and what happened with that. And I'll share that in an upcoming episode. My life stayed like that. It didn't change. It didn't get better. It didn't stop. It didn't matter how much I ignored it because people have said to me throughout my life and throughout my career, oh, well, I had experiences when I was young, but I just stopped it, just filtered it out and it just all went away. Okay. Okay, cool. No, it fucking didn't, lady. You just ignored it. You just got so used to ignoring it and pushing it away, like you have done with multiple things in your life, including your feelings. We all know this. We ignore the things that are around us because we really don't want to know about the unknown. And everywhere I stayed, everywhere and anywhere I stayed over, if I went to a friend's house for a sleepover, I would I would get symptoms which I never considered until now and looking back. I would get eye aches. Um, what now we know now from seeing a specialist that I would have migraines as a child. So severe that I've actually left scar tissue and I have a disease from it on my brain, scar tissue on my brain. And I would get these eye aches where the pain was so bad that I would have to curl up in the fetal position and close the curtains. I'd feel nauseous, want to throw up, and couldn't handle movement, sounds, anything around me. That would always happen when I went to a friend's house. And if that didn't happen, then the other would be is that I would feel and sense and know that whatever was going on was in that person's home too. And I would hear people talking to each other, and there was no one there. And I'd hear footsteps, and there was no one there, and doors opening and closing, and there was no one there. And I didn't sleep. I couldn't get any rest. And the list of experiences that I've had is so long that for you listening, it sounds like it's commonplace and that it was okay, but it was never okay. Those sounds, that movement as a child, it's frightening that there's something basically stalking you in your bedroom in your sleep late at night. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't share anything with anybody because I didn't know. I couldn't, it became a part of my life experience. It was every day. It was every night. It was never in the daytime. That doesn't mean anything, but I just never noticed things during the day that I can recall in any kind of way. So this would happen all the time. Did I see people in spirit in my waking hours around me? No. Did I see shadows? No. Did I see apparitions moving around and talking to me? No. I'm laughing just because that's the people just, I just everywhere I look, there's a spirit everywhere. They're just surrounding us everywhere all the time. Okay, Sharon. Okay. I'm just making up the name Sharon. I don't really know anybody named Sharon that says that. However, I'm sure as you listen to me that you know that you've heard these people say these, oh, I just, or people, I just always know. I just know I knew that I was special. I wasn't special. I don't connect my experiences as being something special. That certainly wasn't my perspective. So I was scared all the time, didn't sleep very well, couldn't stay at friends' houses. Things got all messed up, horrible, scared, right? I didn't tell anybody. So it doesn't make any sense. But as a child, when you're scared all the time, and not only was I scared throughout the night, but during the day, it wasn't necessarily safe where I was. And I waited. I waited till I was about 15 to tell my family. And even before then, I'll leave you with this. Before I turned 15, um, I had experiences in every home that we lived in. It just didn't matter where we were. Anybody's home that I was in that had experiences just happened all the time. And I got to decorate my bedroom in this one home that we lived in, and I painted it as I had a black bed and a black wall with like light. I love light pink. If you don't know this, light pink wall, and along the wall, it was in the 80s. Where all the supermodels were very well known. I had all the fashion magazines like lined up on the floor against the pink wall. And of course, we had the hideous 80s. I think it was aluminum, like aluminum blinds. So they'd be all like I had my different colors because I was fancy. um, they were aluminum, they were heavy. So I didn't have curtains, I had the blinds. And throughout the night, it became every night where you would hear the magazines like flip, 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 like flipping through the pages of the magazine. You'd hear the pages turning and flipping, and they would just flip through different pages of the magazine. And I was too scared to open my eyes to look to see what was there. I was too scared to do that. And if that wasn't enough, right behind my headboard was my window. And that was where the aluminum, wonderful 80s aluminum blinds were. And I would hear something stroking up and down the blinds, like like running. I'm assuming their finger up and down the blinds, like hearing, and then you'd hear the blind tapping against the window, right? You'd be hearing it against the window frame. And I'd just freeze, scared, not knowing what to do. And then that's when I decided to tell my family. So I want to thank you for being here. You've been listening to Ursula Darby. Uh, this podcast is raw truth about grief, spirit, life, with honesty, humor and no bullshit. See you next time.